How's it going, internets? I hope you're having a lovely day. It's that time again. It's time to get into some animation, time to get that imagination all cranked up, get into some creativity, and it's time to get inspired. And today's inspiration comes from Cory Godbey. And if you're not familiar with his work, check right over here. I love his stuff. Kind of reminds me of Peter Desev. I forget if that's the correct pronunciation of his name. But kind of has those European stylings that I really love, that's kind of flowing through some underground illustration stuff these days. Just love his sketch work. I mean, this piece alone, I love those old sketch paper tones. I think the just way that he renders out all these different parts of his neck just gives that texture of like a root or a kind of plant texture in there, and this the highlights in his face. There's a wonderful character there for sure, and I urge you guys to check out more stuff from him. I'll throw some links down below if you guys want to check out more of his stuff, but he's just a phenomenal artist and a wonderful imagination. I really love this character. I think there was one that I wanted to talk about here with you guys. Look at those eyes. The way that he does those eyes are just wonderful. I love this hair too. I always find hair is something that I haven't quite mastered how I want to deal with it just yet. I'm always experimenting every time that I come to draw someone's hair, of either doing it too blocky and too like formed, or too strand, and trying to find that good blend. And I think he has a wonderful way of rendering that out. Yeah, but check out this. I mean, this is just beautiful. I love this one. Great expression here and wonderful line work, beautiful draftsmanship. But I did want to share a quote that I was able to find from him, and he said, "Keep your head down, be professional, and work at it like nothing else matters." I think those are great, great inspirational quote. A great kind of methodology to have is to, be focused on it. Treat everyone that you are working with professionally, so kind, courteous, that kind of do unto others kind of mentality, and then do it like nothing else matters. I think that's a difficult aspect sometimes, especially if you want to maintain good relationships and good friendships, and I know that's something that I definitely kind of struggle with these days with the amount that I work. It's difficult to keep in touch with people, I think, sometimes too, but I think there's a balance. This is kind of in one of those, you have to have kind of those growth spurts where you got to kind of focus on stuff, and that'll happen, and it's okay. Those people that really love you and care about you will be there, and and you'll make new friends, but that's okay. But I think it's a great thing to think about working at it like nothing else matters. Find what it is that you're passionate about, and then just go after it. And maybe what you think you're passionate about now isn't really what you are. If you find that you're struggling to get into it, maybe it's not what you're meant to do. I know there are definitely days where I'm just tired and there's other things in life, but really drawing and animating, that's what I want to do. I like playing music too. It's always fun, and I think it helps me understand timing better and rhythms and stuff like that, especially with animation. But if I don't draw during the day, I feel like there's something wrong, something missing from my day, and the past 3 years I haven't gone a day without it. So I urge you guys to do that as well. But let's go ahead and get into some animation before I ramble on for too long. One quick note though, I did want to mention, just because I noticed this right before started recording today, if you have sent me a message and I haven't responded, send me another one or let me know, because I just saw on Facebook that there were a few people that had tried to message me, and for some reason it wasn't showing up in my messenger, so I will get to you. So sorry about that, but thank you for the messages as well. I usually try to carve out a few hours of my week to spend just on correspondence, so if for some reason you've sent me a message or asked me a question or something and I haven't gotten to you, please just send it again, or hopefully I'll have checked in these new places for messages as well. But we are going to continue on with our Skirmish animation, probably only a couple more days with this one. I think we're starting to get more towards the polishing notes, which is great. I'm glad that we're finally there. I but I don't want to end it too soon. So we still have a bunch of work to get done on this one. I know we're pretty much going to be working on the end here, and we are using Autodesk Maya 2014 for today's video, and we're also using the Goon rig from the How to Cheat in Maya series. Like always, that stuff will be linked down in the description below if you guys want to check that stuff out and play around with it yourself. And I just wanted to throw this out there because I used to do this when I did the other videos, but the main goal of doing these videos each and every day is to hopefully encourage you guys and inspire you to take another step in your journey towards mastering whatever medium it is that you're passionate about, and to also help you feel like you're not alone in your own creative art day, that you have a buddy there going through the same stuff that you are, having those successful days and having those days where just not so much successful. That's why, you know, we carve out an hour of our day together that we get to spend, and sometimes they don't turn out as well as I would have liked, and sometimes they turn out really pretty good. You know, I never say perfect because I don't ever want to cut off myself from growth. But that's part of the thing that I wanted to share with doing these videos, was to not hide from the difficulty or the struggles or the things that don't work. I want to be just as open and as honest and as direct with you guys about this process and this stuff as I can. So let's go ahead and get into here. Now, I wanted to really just focus on pretty much the last pretty much 60 frames of just kind of this settle. I don't think we polished that out very well yesterday. We had it started to work. Let's go ahead and just turn off our backgrounds and stuff so our shot will load a little bit better. And what are all our controllers here? Go ahead and save off our file one more time. And remember, it's always good to save multiple versions and to save often. My saving convention when I'm working on a longer shot is I always start with a brand new version whenever I'm getting into it. So we're on part 16. So as you can see right up at the top, I don't know if the resolution will be here, but you can see this is part 16A. So I always open my file, which would have been like 15C or something from yesterday, open it up, and then save a new one right there, so I can always revert back to the day before if need be, and we can build on this day's work. So let's go ahead and grab everything. We're just really looking at pretty much the recoil of this character here. And let's look at the translate Y here. And I think I want to grab the translate Z as well and try and do a little bit of in between here. So let's get rid of all of those and look at our translate Y and Z. And I'll try to do a lot of the graph editor stuff up here for today, because I think we'll be able to just get onto more nuanced stuff. So I want to throw a little key here, and this are just going to be in between the up and down, so we can get a little bit of kind of circular motion to those hips. So it's not just up and down, but it's a little bit of kind of a wave or a circular motion to the butt and the hips there. And it doesn't have to be a lot at all, but just a little bit, so it's not strictly up and down. Alright, so as you can see, I'm just plotting in between the extremes of our translate Y's, which I kind of taper off here. So we're planting in between those, and let's look here at our translate Z's and how we want that to work. So go over. I'm probably go a little bit this way, and then that way, this way, and we're going to taper this off again too. You know, nothing that we need to have a lot of movement on, but just something. So it's kind of, so it'll go over and up, maybe a frame sooner. And we do want to taper it off a little bit better, and probably do a little bit less. Just so it has a little bit of left to right kind of sway instead of just up and down. Help the looseness a little bit. Now, another other thing I want to do is I want to pretty much hit about the same time here for our rotate X. So I'm going to key that and key that. So this is again going to be in between the up and down extremes of the hips here. And our last one there. And we'll look at our rotate X here again. And I didn't delete the other ones before. Okay, well, we'll just have to make do. Just delete all those. Okay. And we'll just go a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here. And again, we want to just taper this off a little bit more. And not do too much. This is just kind of some keep alive in there that'll just make this movement feel a little bit more exciting. And again, let's make sure that we're not hitting our keys at the same time. That's fine. I guess we could end here at 148 instead of going on those extra frames. Or 184, not 48. Being a little dyslexic tonight, I guess. We could let it go a couple more frames though. That's fine. Alright. Okay, and then the next thing I want to do is grab the chest and the hips and just look at the rotate X's throughout all of this and make sure that we key those all in the same frame here so we can kind of counter animate there. So we're just going through to this one attribute and doing key selected here, so we don't need to key everything. We don't want the rotate Z's and Y's going, even though we might throw some of that in later, which I don't know if we will or not. We'll see. I think what I want to do with this one mainly is to push this kind of idle a little bit more and then try and go in and do a really rough facial animation key pass. That's probably what I'll end up doing for today's kind of workflow here. Tone that down a bit more. Okay, yeah, let's look at it from the back. Okay, and let's do just a little play blast and just see how this is working. Alright, might be a little over the top, but I think we could keep it a little more exaggerated just because if we zoom out, we still want to be able to read this, so I think it's okay having a little, might be a little further than I probably would have taken it, but I think that's okay. So let's go ahead and get into doing a little bit on the neck as well. And we'll just go off the same timing for the rotate on the hips for right now, and then probably delay that a frame or two so it's not hitting exactly the same frame here. So again, we're just going to go in here. We got just our rotate X's selected, and we're just getting our timing off of this other one, so we're hitting similar timing. And then we'll want to do the shoulders, a little bit on the feet, and probably the hands. And then we'll go on to doing some facial expressions here. Facial expressions are always fun. I don't get enough time to do facial expressions, I don't think, on this. Still want to do some lip sync stuff with you guys too. Let's try and focus much, so let's go something more like that. Okay, and let's see again. And we might need to play blast this again to see if that's working correctly. Still hold for a little bit more. And maybe delay it one more frame here and minimize that a little bit more. Okay, let's do a quick play blast and see how that feels. Alright, it's okay, but I think we might need to try and blend the movements a little bit more. So let's go ahead and let's see. So set something there. We'll set something there. Kind of delete that and delete that. Try and blend those in a little bit better. We'll delete this one. Delete that. Let's see. Alright, and let's do a play blast there. See if that works or if that messed it up. We can always revert back. That's alright, but I think we need to cut it a couple of frames. Kind of holds there a little too long. Okay, so let's go. Let's just grab everything here. And we'll set a key there. And set a key there. I'm going to delete that one. And delete that one. And then we'll cut like 2 frames from this whole section here because it's a little too slow. So we'll cut a frame. Again, let's make sure we're grabbing everything here. Cut a frame out of there. And a frame out of here. And we might need to cut more, but I think that's probably about right. And then we'll go ahead and set that and bring that back to like 194. Just so there's a little tiny bit of movement there too. Okay, and let's do a play blast of that and see how that feels. Alright, still feels like we could probably cut about 2 frames out of that. It just holds there for a little bit longer, so let's still cut another couple of frames. So I'll just cut a frame here and there. Just holds for a little bit too long. And we might have to tweak that arm a little bit more. It looks like there's a little bit of jitteriness in that elbow, but we'll get there. So we'll do one more play blast, and I think that's probably about where. Alright, it's better. Now I just want to kind of clean up that stuff, so I'll go back to the graph editor. but I think overall it blends it a little bit better. It does tend to, I want to say it almost leans too much in X for some reason there, so we'll have to see where that is. But it might just be the rotate here. So again, let's just start at the root here. We'll look at the translate Y, and it shouldn't really be favoring that like that, right? This should happen a little bit sooner. Okay, let's look at the rotate X here. I feel like this one might just be too far over. Let's see. Okay, let's look at that. Alright, it's better. Let's clean up that elbow and do a little bit on the shoulders. It's not perfect, but it's workable. Okay, there's like one frame or so where it kind of pops here. Like that. I think that's where it is. Let's maybe delete this one and delete that one. Maybe we'll push it one frame forward. I just don't want that elbow to pop so much. That should read a little bit better. I still like the fact that it swoops down and get that arc on the hand, but I don't want that elbow to get lost there or whatever. Okay. I think that'll read a little better. Let's see. Alright, it's not perfect, but it's definitely a little bit better there. And I think there's a little hiccup where it goes up and down a little bit there, so let's try and clean that up too. I think it's right about here. There's something with the translate Y's that's just not reading so well. Just a little bit of grit in there. Delete that one too. Just trying to keep that arc a little cleaner. Yeah, it's just a bunch of dirt in there in our graph. A couple of little ones that weren't following our path so well, which again, it could be a little bit better. And in the end, you know, if you don't have super clean graphs, it matters what's on screen and what can be seen. And if it works, then a little bit of grit in your graph doesn't hurt, but you also want to sometimes if you're seeing things where there's a little jitter somewhere, it's probably because there's a key that's just out of place, and just fixing that up will help a little better. Still kind of want to favor a little bit up higher there, try and get that elbow. Maybe a little more rotate. Let's see, maybe that's Z here. It's probably more rotate Y. There we go. And let's do a little bit of, let's see where the translate Y's are on this hand. And we'll grab this. I want to try and match those up. You rotate Z, right? Okay. So we'll grab the rotate Z and the translate Y, just to get our timing here for where we want those. And let's focus in on those. Keep that. And keep that. And that. And that one. That one. And lastly. Okay. Alright. And I want to make sure that I'm getting rid of those rotate Z's that I don't need in this hand, which are just extraneous frames. And go back to the shoulder here. So we can do a little bit, just a little bit of give in that shoulder here. And we'll go and drag it a little bit down here. And a little bit up here, down there, up. Just so we get a little bit of that shoulder move in there. Maybe a little on the wrist as well. Just a little bit. So we'll look here. I'll go ahead and set a key there, set a key there, there, here, there, and there, just so we can get a little bit of give in this wrist, so it'll translate into the sword a little bit. It's going to be a little bit in the sword here. Okay, and let's try and clean that up a little bit better. Again, we just kind of want to taper that off, not a whole lot of movement, but just so there's a little bit in there. We'll delay the frame here too. That way when we're behind, we'll see that there's a little bit of movement in the sword there. Alright, and let's do a play blast and see how that feels. Alright, everything feels like it's working, but the head I think might be a little too much, so we might just scale that back about 10%. So let's look at the neck here. And again, we're just gonna scale it back a little bit more. And we'll go to the leave wherever that was there. let's look at this foot here. Go ahead and get some ball roll where it's down there, up here, down there, up there. And I'm not trying to get this to be exactly at the same time, so we can have a little bit of variation then. And again, we want to taper that off as well. So we're going to be like, yeah, this should be lower here. Alright, something like that. And let's do one more play blast, and then let's get into hopefully doing some facial expressions, unless there's anything else that really sticking out. Alright, I think that works pretty well. It might lean a little too forward though, so let's take one last look at kind of our translate probably X here. So let's look here. I just feel like right around here, maybe what we can do is just pull it back a little bit more, just so it's a little bit more balanced here. And look at our translate X on this hand as well, and just pull that back just a little bit. Okay. I think that feels a little more balanced. Let's see. Yeah, it's working functionally all right. I think I want to try and mix up this landing on this character though real quick, see if we can just offset a couple things, couple of frames, just so, or maybe bounce on one of those feet or something, just so there's something that's mixing it up a little bit more. So let's go ahead and save our file, because I think our recoil is functional. I could definitely use some more polish on there, but I think it works better than it did before. So let's just see if we can loosen this up a little bit more. So like we could have, let's see. Like this foot here, we could have it land at that frame and have it there. Or it kicks back up there. And maybe we'll do the same on this foot too. So set that like one frame later, so we get a little bit of bounce. And maybe we can try it on this wrist too. Go up a little bit more. Rotate the wrist here. And maybe have a little bit more on the wrist here. Alright, let's play that and see if that feels a little bit looser. Alright, I think that plays better. We can still, I think, play around with it a little bit more, but there's just that little bit of reverberation there on the extremities. I think that works well, and I'm not going to do it on the hammer because I feel like the hammer should hit and fall pretty heavily. What I might do though is flatten the hammer to the completely to be on the ground. I think that would be more realistic to weight, so let's see. Because right now it's kind of at an angle, and actually it's not even all the way on the ground, which means we're probably going to have to redo some of this stuff on that hand, which is kind of a bummer, but it's more correct to be like this. Yeah, let's make sure, what frame does that hit? At 134. So let's make that. Again, we have this frame, which works. Go up a little bit higher here. And then this one, which we'd want to be up and over. And maybe get that elbow twist a little bit more this way. And bring that forward a frame. And then bring this hand over, down, up a little bit more. Let's play blast that and see if that works better. Alright, I think that works a little better. I'll get that little bit. One thing I might do is do a little bit on that hand too, just so that works a little bit better. So let's, or like on the fingers here, kind of open that up so that it'd be more of a interesting hand pose that it would end on. Remember, it's always good to save multiple versions and to save often, especially if you find that you got something working but you want to mix it up a little bit more after that. So let's just go start at the end here, and I want to do a more interesting hand pose there. So let's get this. Just start at the end and work backwards. And middle. And our index. So we'll bring that back. And our thumb. Let's bring that over. Back. Come on. Just zero that out and zero that out just for now. Tip of the thumb. I think that's just more interesting. Okay, so keep the hand there. Go ahead and delete that. This should be more like, almost hold that. Should probably stretch, like drag back a little bit here. And tips again. And get that index a little bit better here. So to hit distance a little bit looser. Give it a couple of frames just so that it too, just so we get like a little bit of twitch in there. Do that on 2s there, so we get a little bit. All right, and let's play that. See how that feels. Okay. Again, it's not something you're really gonna see so much, is just kind of feel that there's a little more twitch there. Maybe one more thing we could do. I want this feet to be like one more frame distance between them. So let's try and have it hit here, but have it maybe hit heel first. So can we do some rock or some pivot here? Move it over a little bit more. Okay, and let's play that one more time. Alright, it's a little bit more loose now. So we've got one foot hitting, then the second foot stopping, moving, and then the last little twitch on the fingers. So it's a little bit more mixed up there. And we got that hammer feeling a little bit heavier by getting it actually planted on the ground. I don't know why I didn't see that before. And then we've got this a little bit more of a moving hold, to kind of some rest there, so that works better. We still have probably another 15 minutes or so, so let's try and get a couple expressions in on those key poses. Yeah. Okay, so make sure we're still recording here. Alright, may as well just start from the end. Let's look at the end pose that we want to hit here. Let's just look. Again, I'm not going to do too much of a facial pass because it's not going to be too, it's not going to, from the distance that we're shooting at, we're not going to really be seeing too much of this stuff. If we come up with a different camera though, it might be more interesting, but I like having more of a broad shot where you can really just focus in on the action rather than the subtle moments for this one. So this one, we really just want more of a grumpy face or a tired face or an angry face. So it's got to be a little bit here, no? Okay. Let's kind of zero out that. Do a little bit of a underbite if I can here. Maybe an overbite instead. Yeah, rotate it open a little bit. Push those lips a little bit more. And maybe curl this one under a little bit. And try and push that forward just a little bit more so it kind of juts out. Let's also pull it so that the lower lip is a little bit closer here. 1 second. Alright, sorry about that neighbor emergency there. So which face are we going with? This one. Let's make him a little bit more angry. Just a little bit more. Alright. I feel like that, at least from the side, it reads pretty well. feel like maybe we could push the middle of the lip, close it a little bit more. Something more like that. Yeah, that looks more intense. Okay, so now this is going to be one of our key facial poses, so we'll grab everything here. And we're just shift clicking on here to select this stuff. And we just go ahead and hit S on our keyboard. And we'll go ahead and just kind of hold that. Again, this is just a real rough key pass on these big moments here. So that's one of them. Go ahead and put one. This one might be a good one to do one. Go ahead and drag the jaw here. Those teeth are so right in there. Rotate that. Zero this out. Zero that out. Put that down. This down as well. And translate Y's down a little bit more here. And push the lip corners out a little bit. Maybe push these out just a little bit more. And a little bit further down. Let's look at the lower lip, get that over a little bit more. And drag these cheeks down here. Pull them in a little bit more because the face should be stretching there with the mouth open. Alright, we'll go with that. That's fine. We'll go and set that. Make sure we get the eyebrows here. Set those. Kind of working our way backwards through this shot here. Settle that, then we know we like that. So we'll delete this one. Okay, so we got two main facial key poses here. Let's go back to where's our first main key gonna be here? Probably right here. Go ahead and kind of grit the jaw. I think here would be a good one. Actually, maybe we'll keep him kind of smirking at the beginning of this. It's kind of a fun idea. Maybe not as much as he first started out, but still a little bit. Tilt the jaw a little bit here. Move it over a little bit more. And push that cheek up a little bit. Over this one down a little bit and inward, and puff it in a little bit so we get a little bit of stretch on this side and a little bit of squash on this side. And go ahead and balance out the brows a little bit more and push them down a little bit more than from the beginning. This one down just a little bit more. So you can still have that little bit of a wave through there, but it's more subtle here. Alright, I feel like that works. So we'll go ahead and grab all of our main controllers and lock this key in. So we'll set everything there, set everything at the beginning and delete everything in between, so we can kind of favor where we want our main keys to be, and we'll take everything just a couple frames through and hold that till there. Alright, I feel like that works okay. And then where's our next pose gonna be? Kind of something in mid-air, maybe. Yeah, we'll do a breakdown here where we'll drag the jaw a little bit closed and a little bit forward. And we'll gotta fight with eyes here. Close the eyes for this part. Get rid of that. Kind of throw them a little more expressionless here. I'll go ahead and do a little bit more up in the brows here. Let's just go ahead and bring that forward, just so the eyes don't get all funky on me. And I'll need more lower lid than upper lid here. More upper lid than lower lid is what I meant. I always want to favor with more upper than lower lid. And let's make sure those I feel a little more even here. Maybe we'll put the jaw a little bit out of whack here too. Because he would have just gotten hit and he's thrown behind, so go ahead and bring this down a little bit more. And maybe a little bit more upper lip curl here. Maybe we'll tweak those eyelids so they're a little bit more, let's see. We'll go with something like that. Again, this is just a real rough pass here on all of our facial expressions. How are we doing on time? I could probably do a couple more faces here. Okay, so we'll grab everything at 9 and we'll set all of that. And I think we had, where's our other key, at 2? That's what we had. Let's make sure we get those eyes forward here. We'll go ahead and plant him pretty much in here so he's looking down at that guy. Go ahead and get the eyelids open. Alright. Go ahead and set them there. Set them there. Okay, let's make sure we keyed everything on this face here. So we can lock in this expression and delete everything in between. So we don't need that one. That's fine. go to here. This one looks like he's kind of high there. Okay, let's go in here. We want this to be kind of a grit, like whatever he thought if this was going to be an easy fight or battle, it's not as easy as he thought it was going to be. So a little more determination in this one. Not necessarily anger yet, but just a little more fortitude or determination or something like that. So again, I don't want to make him too angry, but just a little bit more focused than it has been here. And where are those eyes here? Make sure those eyes are open. And a little bit more like that. And let's go with this eyelid, bring it a little more open too. Make sure we set everything there. And let's look at this jaw. Let's go ahead and, well, I think I want it clenched here. Go kind of from the side. Push it a little bit. A little bit forward. A little bit of lower lip curl. And yeah, just a little bit there. Again, it's not necessarily anger, but it's definitely like frustration, a little bit of determination built in there. Don't necessarily want him to come off angry, but just like, alright, let's do this kind of pose. Okay, so we'll set everything there. Where's our other key? Somewhere around 9, I think. And again, this is just punching in our main keys here. So we liked it, what was that, about 54. Is that it? Yeah, 54. So go ahead and delete that. Delete that. We'll have some form of kind of this for a little bit longer. And go here. So we can kind of hold that a little bit more. And we'll hold it until it's 66. Actually, we'll hold it. Let's hold some form of that till about like 80. What did I say? At least one more? Yeah, we can do at least one more expression or breakdown here. So let's go 81 there. This one is going to be kind of like our little bit passed out there, so let's do this one. This one should be fun to do too. And let's get those teeth out of the way there. Let's look at those eyes here. Roll them back into the back of the head a little bit. And we'll go ahead and make this one was thinking one really open and one really closed, but let's do something more like that. I think for the jaw, though, we still want to not have it intersect so much here. And let's get this down, over, this kind of up and over. Go a little bit more like this. It's a little bit of a knockout, not completely, but a little bit. And let's get those eyebrows tweaked a little bit here too. Alright, I think that works. And let's go push that cheek down, this one down too. Should we do anything with the lips? Yeah. A little bit more teeth overall. And push the mouth a little bit more this way. Try and avoid some intersection with that arm a little bit more. So let's see if we can get in there and do that. Is that too busted? It might be a little too pushed. Yeah. Alright. I think that works. Alright, so let's go ahead and make sure we key everything here. And I think we'll call it for today. I think 81, did we do a good key there? No, where was our last key? Kind of around 67. So let's go and delete that, delete that, delete that one, and that one. I feel like that works pretty well. We'll go a little bit less there. Definitely gonna want to break this down, throw in a good pose here, but I think we'll go with that for now. Okay, so how are we doing on time? Oh yeah, we're definitely over for our time. So let's kind of frame this bad boy in. Go ahead and save it off here real quick, and we'll do a play blast and kind of gather our thoughts and wrap it up here for today. Alright, so I think we got some good stuff in there. We were able to break up kind of his landing on the character on the right after he gets kind of knocked out, and then play around with the moving hold or the settle on character on the left towards the end, and then did real rough, about half pass probably on the facial expressions, which we'll get into finishing up. Doing at least a key pass on that character tomorrow, and hopefully get started and do a key pass on the other character as well for doing some facial expressions there too. So overall, pretty good. Moving along, chugging along. But yeah, and then if we want to break down anything further than that with the facial expressions, that'll be another, what we've got, about 11 seconds worth of facial animation to do, so that could be a while if we really want to get in and break that down a lot. But I think from this further perspective, it's not going to be any sort of subtle movement in the facial stuff unless we change our camera angle and really get in there, which I've been thinking about too. Maybe that would be fun, playing around with some camera moves and stuff too. But I think eventually we'll probably want to move on to doing a different shot here soon before we'll spend a whole month on doing this one. So let's take a look back at where we started. We were looking at the beautiful work of Cory Godbey, and he said, keep your head down, be professional, and work at it like nothing else matters. Phenomenal advice. Definitely something that I want to follow and try to implement in my life, is just to keep focused on the thing that you want to do and make that your priority there. So thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for all the likes and subscribes. You guys are amazing. I love you lots. I hope you carved out some time in your day to work on your own dreams. And if you did that together with me, thanks for inviting me along. You guys are amazing and wonderful. Feel free, as always, to, down in the comments down below, share your own work. So I'm happy to give you some thumbs up, get you some more exposure. Whatever we can to make it through this journey together is what I'm looking for. And feel free, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, all that kind of stuff. They're in the links below. Follow me on any of those ones. Shoot me messages. I want to hear from you. I want to know what you guys are thinking. But yeah, I think we'll wrap it up for today. So remember, if you're watching this, you are the creative future. So go out there and make something each and every day. And shape the world, shape the creative future. And we will see you for some more animation, some more imagination, some more creativity, and just overall frivolity and craziness tomorrow.